Alright, I'm going to talk to you about how to find percent of a number. And I want to stress that there are several ways that you can find percent of a number. I'm going to show you one way. The way I'm going to show you involves changing your percent to a decimal and then the word of meaning to multiply. So basically we're going to change our percents to a decimal and then we're going to multiply by what we are trying to figure out. Okay? Let me start with the first example. If you are to find 15% of 30, and you want to follow those two steps that I just said, you're going to change your percent to a decimal, so that's going to be 0.15. Of means to multiply, and I'm trying to make that dot bold so it looks like a multiplication sign, and then 30. So we have 15% of 30. So when you get to this point, then it's just a matter of multiplying decimals. You can multiply 30 times 0.15, and we get a 0, 15, and you end up with 450. But you have to remember that because you come in two decimal places here in the problem, you need to come in two decimal places here for your answer. So the answer is 4.50. So that means that 15% of 30 is 4.50. It is not 4.50%. Okay, it's just 4.5 or 4.50. When you find a percent of a number, the answer is not a percentage. 120% of 50. 120% as a decimal is 1.20. Of means to multiply, and then 50. So when you multiply off to the side, it's a lot of zeros, huh? You should end up with 6000. But again, because you come in two places here on your problem, that means you're going to need to come in two places here on your answer. So 120% of 50 is 60. And what I want you to realize is that 100% of 50 is 50. Okay, all of the number is 50. So if it's 120%, because you're talking about more than 100%, your answer is going to be higher than the original number that you started off with. So 120% of 50 is 60. And again, it's not 60%, it is simply 60. Okay? Now, percents are something that you really do need to know in the real world. It is something that we use on a daily basis. Let's say you're shopping and you see something that you want and it's $32 and it's on a rack where there's a sign above it and it says 25% off. Well, in order to figure out what your discount is, you need to figure out what 25% of $32 is. So again, we're going to follow the steps of saying 0.25 of means to multiply and then 32. So when I do a little bit of math over here off to the side, and this one actually, let me come down on this because I think it's going to take me a lot of room. Sorry. I get 800, but because I come in two places here on my decimal, I need to come in two places here on the answer. So the answer is 8. But here is what this means. Okay? If something is on sale for 25% off of $32, that does not mean that it costs $8. That means that it's an $8 discount. Sorry, my letters kind of connect there, so it looks kind of funny. But it's an $8 discount. So you would have to subtract, you would have to say, okay, well, $32 minus $8, sorry, to figure out. So $32 minus $8, which is $24. So that means if something's $32, it's 25% off, you're going to pay $24 for it because it's an $8 discount. So make sure you're looking at what the question asks when you are posed with questions like this. Is it asking for how much is the discount, or is it asking for the cost of the item after the discount? Tip kind of works about the same way. If only tip isn't subtracted from a bill, a tip is added to a bill. So let's say you go out to eat with some friends and your bill comes to $20, okay, and you want to leave a 15% tip. That means you need to figure out what 15% of $20 is to figure out how much tip you're going to leave. So again, it's going to be 0.15. Of means to multiply, and then we have 20. So we're going to do a little bit of math over here off to the side. And because, again, there's 2 decimal places in the problem, I need to come in 2 decimal places on my answer. So the answer here is, sorry, is $3. That means I leave a $3 tip. That doesn't mean that that's how much my total bill is. That's how much tip I leave. So if your bill is $20 and you leave a $3 tip, then that means it costs you $23 in total to go out to eat that time. Okay? And then there's tax. We all have to pay tax every time we go buy something at the store. So if you have to pay a 6% sales tax on something that costs you $10, you can figure out the tax by saying, okay, 6% is 0.06. Remember, we go 2 decimal places to the left to change a percent to a decimal. Of means to multiply 10. So I'm going to multiply over here. And again, because there are 2 decimal places in the problem, I'm going to come in 2 decimal places in my answer. So an item that is $10 at 6% tax is going to be 60 cents in sales tax. If I wanted the total cost of the item, I would add those two together. The cost of the item plus the tax tells me how much I pay total for that item, which would be $10.60.